Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, actually, Amungus here, coach of the Atlanta Sobble, and we got another NPA draft battle for you. This is week 7, I believe. Week 6, week 7. Either way, we're going up against a good friend. No introduction is really needed for this person. They're on the channel a lot. We've done collaboration streams together, all kinds of things together, including draft leagues and you name it. Good friend of mine, and of course big props to him for throwing this whole NPA thing together for all of us. It's the one and only Coach Arts, coach of the Brooklyn Salamence, and we're here finally starting to get some wins under our belt. We're 2-3, so that will make this week 6. Yeah, I don't really know what to say besides, had a rough start. Not the greatest performance so far, but we're able to win our last 2. Kind of has the season looking a little brighter for us. And, this is a person that I consider a really good battler and a really good friend. So I'm always going to do my best against those types of opponents. I did bring a little bit more of like the bottom part of my roster for this one. I don't know what kind of factor that really played into the whole thing. Oops, I got my sprites wrong though. Let me fix that real quick for you. But yeah, we're gonna, lead with the Drapion in this one. And coming into this battle, there's a couple things we really want to keep our eye on. We know we have to keep the Salamence in check. We know that we have to watch out for Suicune, which can check all of our major threats. So that's why we're leading with the Drapion. It'd be great if we could get some hazards up, cause some issues for their team coming down the road. But, let's just hop right into it. Battle starting. And of course, shout out once again and good luck to Coach Arts. So Coach Arts actually gonna lead with his one of his biggest threats on the team, his Victini. It's a pretty good matchup for us considering. So instead of, even though we really should have just went for the toxic spikes on turn 1, we're gonna go for damage. Considering that it's probably a switch, this was looking like pretty free damage, and Suicune coming in as kind of a predictable play. Like, maybe in hindsight should have gone for the toxic spikes, but when it's all said and done, my logic was pretty much there to try to get damage off on this thing. Even a little bit of chip on such a bulky threat like Suicune, I figured was worth it. Keeps the Drapion in on it, which should be faster. And then I can go ahead, like I am right now, and taunt it. He actually goes for the Scald. I don't know exactly what his Suicune set is, but I was really fearing like a full commitment to bulk and like maybe a little Calm Mind substitute, maybe rest, maybe, well, he does appear to have rest, but or wait, my mistake. Anyway, he doesn't appear to have rest, but we dropped the taunt on it because of how many different ways Suicune can threaten my team passively. That's really what I was trying to get at, is that we dropped the taunt because of the way that this Pokemon can threaten us, passive threats. He brings in the Rotom, which was pretty well predicted. We're just gonna pivot back out on that and actually pick up a crit. But, you know, basically just trade in slight warning blows at this point. We're going to go to our Urshifu. Get off a Drain Punch here, if I'm not mistaken. And honestly, this was when I started getting a little too aggressive with my battle plan. Oh wait, we're going to U-turn on this one. That's right, okay. Predicting the switch, we're going to U-turn and continue to pivot. They go to the Sableye, which is exactly why I didn't go Drain Punch. So I did this, I should mention, I did this battle like over a week ago. I had a busy week, so it's taken me a while to actually get the recording done. And it's me that has the rest. It's me with the bulky rest water type. And yeah, that's exactly what we're going to go for here. Obviously, this fairy type is one of my best threats to Sableye. So I was figuring it would probably force it back out. And I was figuring also that it would probably force it out into the Suicune. Now, Suicune was a major threat for me. But at this point in the battle, I really thought that I had it out the way. As soon as I landed that Whirlpool, I thought it was clip for Crystal the Suicune. I go for my Perish Song, and funny thing, they actually brought a very unexpected counter for it. Now, I talked to Arts after the battle, and they told me that they brought this tech expecting this to be Belly Drum, which explains why they went for the Scald, even though I went for Whirlpool. But obviously, when you see the Perish Song, I'm not. And I go for the Protect here, but his counter even gets around that. They brought the Roar, and they're going to force me out, freeing them from the waterfall and allowing them to switch out. And I think this just threw me off because I really wasn't expecting that. I then make the mistake that I avoided before, because I know I made this mistake at some point in the battle. Or do I still not? I know at some point in the battle I Drain Punch on the incoming Sableye. Oh right, nah. Honestly, rewatching this battle like about a week after, which usually I'm a lot more fresh on what had occurred during the match. But like I said, I had a really busy week, that kind of thing. So, looking back at this battle a week later, I'm able to see from the time that he gets that Roar off, Arts is pretty well got the initiative, and he stays ahead of me for a while. Making the correct prediction to go for the normal type against the Wicked Blow and not the Sableye allows him to more easily predict my Drain Punches coming in, because not many things I could click right here are going to hurt the Porygon. I could have U-turned and should have U-turned, knowing that any turn he could go to this. But like I said, from the time that Arts got the rest off, or the Roar off on my Azumarill, he had a great advantage, and kind of had a mental advantage in mentality as well, because he got a little bit of a lead, follow it up by playing well, and because he did such a great job at spoiling one of my best options against him, he's kind of got me playing off my back foot in a predictable way. Switches in the Sableye finally on the free hit. Then he goes back to Porygon, and I get paralyzed. So I can't say for sure, but I think Porygon would have went down there. It wouldn't have been the biggest turning point in the battle, but it would have helped. Porygon would have went down there. It's obviously a very bulky Pokemon. It's got the Thunder Wave. It already paralyzed. One of my biggest threats, if not the biggest threat that I brought this week. And so, you know, things at this point are already just not going my way. They're gonna catch my Drapion on the switch in, do a big amount of damage to it, and I do not follow it up with a solid play. I think at this point it was way too late for this type of idea. If I was going to get the Toxic Spikes up, I should have done it turn 1. And, well, had I been able to pull that off, I probably would have at least had, I would have had at least this poisoned, I'm pretty sure. Possibly the Sableye as well. You know, I mean, obviously I don't know how Arts would have chose to play that, but you know, you got to make switches at some point. You can't. The Suicune, for example, was Paris Song, so I assume that would have got switched at some point. Unless the Rotom was carrying Defog, he may just simply have not brought it. It would kind of make sense for him to have not brought Hazard Removal because his Rotom is Rotom Frost. And so therefore his thinking may have been, I don't need to get rid of hazards when I can just get rid of the most likely hazard setter, which of course is Landorus. It's obviously a huge threat on my team. And an extremely reliable Pokemon at getting their hazards up at the Stealth Rocks. I think that's what makes it so overused, is that it's like guaranteed rocks. But it really ends up becoming a non-factor that I even brought any kind of hazards, and also therefore becomes a non-factor that of whether he brought Defog or not. So the main problem with my matchup this week was definitely the way that I played it. Not allowing one mistake to lead to other mistakes, and not losing the momentum when I get the momentum, or not allowing them to turn a slight amount of momentum into a bigger lead. Either one of those outcomes was not good for me, and I think both of those things clearly happened. We did bring a pretty interesting Cryogonal set this week with the Ice Beam for Salamence, the Water Pulse for Victini, the Freeze Dry for Suicune, and you know, it's got a pretty good special attack stat and a good special defense stat. So its special defense will definitely help against this Rotom, the Sableye if it chooses to attack, and the Porygon if it chooses to attack. And as I already mentioned, you know, it has pretty good coverage moves for the other three Pokemon that he brought. I've been really loving using this Pokemon during this draft league, and I think that it's performed really well. I raised a lot of eyebrows when I drafted it. People were like, Cryogonal? But its special defense stat is great. Obviously, you have to base it. It's like all of its defense is in special defense. You have to pretty much avoid physical attacks. But it's got good speed, really good speed, really good special defense, and very serviceable. I wouldn't say really good, but very, very serviceable special attack. Either way, you know, the Urshifu is already paralyzed, so we end up letting that go down. And we're kind of, like I said, playing off of our back foot. We're at this point down 2 Pokemon. And they're very key Pokemon as well. It forces us to go Landorus against the Rotom, which is really not where we want to be. But of course, we do have the speed over it, and we did bring Rock Slide for it, as well as for the Salamence. But I think at this point, using Landorus in this way, it's just kind of too little too late. Unless we're able to pick up a lot of luck it was just not going to work out the way that it could have worked out in a more advantageous situation where I played my cards a little bit better and was either able to A, get a little bit more damage off on it, or B, just not, just simply not, hit this thing with a focus blast, a drain punch, something of that sort. Would have been much better. And we end up losing our other huge threat, which I must admit, at this point, Arts has pretty much got the battle won. My Azumarill is like at best going to be able to take out 2 Pokemon at best. Heliolisk is a fairly reliable Dynamax user, but it's frail. And Salamence has dragon typing, so the electric attacks hit it neutrally. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, Salamence was too much for this thing to really break. It's just not favorable for me. The only thing I get out of this Toxic Spikes is a useless poison. And, I'm trying to analyze my own play and what I did wrong. But I think I already said it as well as I can say it. Coach Arts is able to put me on my back foot on this one pretty early on in the game. And definitely keep me there. Definitely keep me in a position where my moves are predictable. And then all he has to do is be correct in those predictions, execute his plays, and basically just, play with conviction. Know that he put the plan in place to do what he needs to do, so do it. And I knew that was a possibility coming into this match. Arts is a great player. He always seems to get the better of me in draft battles too. Before we started doing draft league battles together, we had battled a lot on like my Friday night streams that I was doing for a very long time. His viewer battle streams as well. But once we moved over to draft leagues, I haven't beaten Arts once since in draft leagues. So, maybe it's just a stylistic thing. Maybe he understands the way that I play. And when he gets the time to prepare in a draft format, there's no catching him off guard with my play style, and he just dissects me and takes me apart. But whatever it is, I try to analyze my own play in the process, but I really have nothing that I can say except for I could have done this better, I could have done that better. And that the main credit goes to Arts, because I don't think that my play was terrible, but his play put me in position to make bad plays. I know I've said that about 3 times, but I've tried to say it in a way that is really clear and explains what happened in this battle. We also got kind of a slow-paced end game where this Suicune's going to come through, and with all of its bulk, it's going to absorb up some hits. It's going to activate its berry. Obviously, that's just going to serve to absorb up some more hits. Poison's a non-factor. The only time I really could have gotten anything good out of the poison is had I not clicked Focus Blast with the Heliolisk and or missed it. But yeah, like, I bide my time for a few more turns, but I really don't have much of an out on this one. I mean, unless the combination of Heliolisk and Cryogonal just go absolutely off, it's not going to happen. And another fact is also not going to happen unless I was able to get a good 40 to 50% damage off on the Salamence before it gets the chance to Dynamax. And obviously Salamence hasn't hit the board yet. It's sitting there completely free of damage. It's just a well played and executed game plan by Coach Arts. So I mean, I already said it. At the point when I lost my Landorus, it was pretty much over. We're gonna go to 2-4 in the NPA. Definitely not the kind of record I was expecting us to have. 2/3 of the way through the season. Playoffs is looking slim. I'd basically have to win out to make playoffs and do it in a pretty good fashion. I mean, my differential isn't good, isn't terrible. I almost said isn't good, but it isn't bad. My differential isn't bad. I've been in every game. I think this is my worst loss of the season so far, as a matter of fact. I've been in every one of my games, but just haven't been able to close the deal on a lot of them. And I would actually say that this is like I said, this is probably my worst loss of the season as far as a decisive victory is concerned. The other battles, I think that if I would have done one or two things different, maybe I could have pulled it off. But in this case, from pretty early on when he roared out my Zoomeril, he was in the driver's seat on this one. He's going to go to his Salamence here. And he's basically at this point just feeding kills to his hopeful MVP. We're also going to hit the timer as well, which is unfortunate, but you know, we had Rest Azumarill, Bulky, Suicune. It wasn't a slow-paced battle, but it was a battle that included some bulky threats, Sableye and Porygon as well. So we are going to go to timer, which, you know, to my same point I was making earlier, it goes along with preserving my differential a little bit. No, I don't think that my last two Pokemon would have been able to pull this off. But like I said, you know, if I'm able to win out for the rest of the season, then maybe, you know, this slight preservation in differential that obviously the timer is going to help me with will help a lot. I'm also not going to take the I'm not going to take the preserved differential route. That's not my style. I don't do that. 5 seconds left on the clock, 1 second left on the clock. I'm going to try to get my last move off, which does cause me to lose my Heliolisk, but that's okay. I have a lot of respect for the other coach, and I just don't battle that way, yo. If there's time left on the clock, I want to get as many moves in on the battle. I would like it if my opponents treated me the same way, even though I obviously can't enforce that. It's just the way, it's just what I feel is right, whether anybody agrees or disagrees. But obviously the timer's sitting at 0. It's a GG to Coach Arts, and that's it for this one for me. We'll be back next week. Well, actually, because we took like a week to record this video, we'll be back within a couple of days. As soon as I get the video done. Oops, I was looking for the screen here. There we go. We'll be back right before you know it with another NPA battle. This time we're going up against another good friend, Coach Bishme, and the New York Knickets. So be on the lookout for that. I'm guaranteeing it's going to be a great battle. Haven't done it yet, haven't recorded it yet, but it's coming up in the next couple of days. This is actually Amoongus signing off, and your Atlanta Sobble. GG's one more time to Coach Arts, and big shout out for throwing this league together to my man. That's it for me. Peace.